Gated ion channels open and close in response to a specific stimulus. There are three types: the voltage-gated channel, ligand-gated channel, and stress-gated channel. Let's go to the first one, the voltage-gated channel. The voltage-gated channel opens in response to changes occurring in the membrane potential. When the cell membrane is at its resting membrane potential, the activation gates of the voltage-gated sodium ion channels are closed and the inactivation gates are opened. Voltage-gated potassium ion channels are closed. Depolarization is initiated by a stimulus, making the membrane potential more positive, making the voltage-gated sodium ion channels start to open. Many sodium channels open and sodium ions diffuse across the membrane, causing depolarization. Voltage-gated potassium ion channels begin to open too, but slower. Because of that, depolarization happens due to more sodium ions diffusing into the cell than potassium ions diffuse out of it. When the membrane potential approaches maximum depolarization, the inactivation gates of the voltage-gated sodium ion channels begin to close and the diffusion of sodium ion decreases. The potassium ion channels remain open and potassium ions continue to diffuse out of the cell. The increased potassium ion permeability lasts a little longer than the time required to bring the membrane potential back to its resting level. The extra potassium ions cause the membrane potential to become more negative. After the voltage-gated potassium ion channels close, the active transport of sodium and potassium ions reestablish the resting membrane potential. Some ion gates are ligand-gated. They need to bind to a specific chemical, the neurotransmitter, before they can open. While they allow out ions to pass from an area of high concentration to low concentration, they are only open when this ligand, the neurotransmitter, is present. When the neurotransmitter binds, the channel opens and these ions pass through the channel. However, the neurotransmitter doesn't stay bound to the receptor forever and it detaches, breaking into pieces, and is reabsorbed so that it can be used later. At any point, once the ligand is no longer bound the channel will close and the ion flow will stop. Stress-gated channels open in response to mechanical stress. As you can see here, auto hair cells have a special function where sound waves cause the basilar membrane to vibrate up and down, which creates a shearing force between the basilar membrane and the tectorial membrane, causing the stereocilia to bend back and forth. This is a closer look of the stereocilia of the auditory hair cell. As you can see, the channel is closed and you can see the filament leaking. However, the bundle is not tilted yet. Now the channel is open and the bundle is tilted as well. This movement of the cells opens the mecho-sensitive potassium channels of the stereocilia, causing positively charged potassium ions to flow into the hair cells. This increases the membrane potential, causing other voltage-gated calcium channels in the hair cell membrane to open and letting calcium ion flow into the cell too. The calcium ions are now the trigger, causing neurotransmitter release and stimulating the auditory nerve, which then sends the sound signals as an action potential to the brain, which then can interpret it as music or speech or any sort of sound or noise.